Hey, Mike Jason. Welcome to the Boss Monster Big Box. This is the oversized storage box to store all of your Boss Monster cards from the very first set to the next generation or the next level. Um, what was the third one? Rise of the Next Level, mini bosses, the three core big expansions, plus like the Crash Landing, Heroes for Tool Kind. I know I'm missing some of them. Um, what are all the other names of all the other expansions? Destruction tools that implement some destruction. Um, there's more of them. There's a lot more. There's the Villain's Vault, and I'm probably missing something else. There's also then Super Boss Monsters, which just came out. Plus, there's also the 10th anniversary edition. Plus, all the different extra little booster packs, the reprint pack, pixel pack, Dragon Prince art promo stuff. So a lot of stuff. So they want to make a big box to hold all of it. And you might be like, this box is gigantic, which it is. Compared to what they used to call the lunchbox. This is the original lunchbox. So you can see obviously there's a size difference there. It's not quite twice as wide. And not quite twice as deep that way. But it is getting pretty darn close. But in height-wise, it's actually pretty darn close that way. So yeah, this has everything up through Super Boss Monster and the 10th anniversary edition. When you see this, I have all my cards sleeved. If you don't sleeve your cards, obviously you can fit more stuff in there. And I have them in the official Boss Monster sleeves too. But yeah, this is taking up a lot. There's really not any more room. I could maybe fit like a promo pack in here, and that's about it. And then we had the little tiny like cardboard dividers, which aren't even for everything, because I didn't have any for mini bosses and stuff like that. So we're gonna take a look at the brand new big giant box and see what's all in it, what you get in it, what it'll all hold. So definitely really cool artwork showing a bunch of the different bosses on there. Plus some more on the edges. We get to see all of those different characters, which are really fun. They're great designs, so why not show them all off? Then, if we open it up, it's just kind of sticky. Nothing on the inside, but we get some trays in there. Plus, we get some. I love the outside here. We get like the dungeons all look together. Plus, they have heroes in, which you don't normally get to see the heroes interacting with stuff too much, but that's really fun. Like all the different rooms there. And if we look on this side, see some of the different traps, the spells, the monsters are like the pipe going up and down, where it's all connected. Sometimes the bosses are in there. There's Skilla. I love it. And then the last side, Portus Goom and Cerebella. Different heroes. That's really cool. The cool way to like incorporate all this awesome artwork you have. So in here we have two different trays in here. So I have this little thin one for lots of the different like components and stuff we'll look at. As well as we have one with I already dumped some components in here. Which I bought extras of. So I'm just gonna kind of toss these guys out to the side for the moment. Yeah, we'll look at that. But then in here we have a bunch of other stuff. So we have a bunch of little trays, and we have stuff for playmats. This actually comes with a playmat for Super Boss Monster. So now, if you don't own Super Boss Monster, is this useless to you? Meh, probably. You can still use it even if you don't have Super Boss Monster, because that's the solo mode. Let's flip to the regular side. So yeah, even if you don't have Super Boss Monster itself, so maybe you can't utilize the meeple stuff if you don't have them, or you don't want to gain your own meeples or download the instructions, you can always at bare minimum at least just use this as a way for the heroes to run through the board, and then for all your stuff to buy spells every turn. Draft your cards, which is definitely fun. And then the other side is the solo version. So that's fun that we're going to get that. in there, and that can kind of just drop back in there. The other one we're going to get is the 5-6 player expansion. And now you'll notice that barcode down there. That's because I'm guessing they're probably sold separately. There are people that maybe don't care about buying the box, and they just want an extra. They want to get the neoprene mats as well. This is just a great way to get both at the same time. Now what's also fun is that all of these little box trays come out. These are very nice because that way you could put different sets in there. So you could go like, you know, like set 1, set 2, set 3, set 4, like set 1, 2, and 3, like Super Boss Monster, and then have like the last one here. There are 5 of them. That could be for like promos and stuff. Or you can mix it all together. Like this is our monster deck, spell deck, you know, whatever, like boss deck, like other things, you know, and then you could pull out each one as you need be. So it's nice to see and give you some options. Then if we look at what else it comes with, is it comes with a bunch of really great deck dividers. And then we also have some promo cards, which we'll look at here in a moment. And then we have 2 more spell meeples for your 5-6 player. You want to play with them. Then we have a bunch of wooden tokens. So we have, these replace the ones from Super Boss Monster. So again, even if you don't have Super Boss Monster, you can start using some of the tokens for our pluses and minuses, plus the wooden ones that replace these. So those are really fun. Like I said, I did actually end up buying another set just because I was like, hey, I always like to have extras. They're really fun. Let's take a look at these cards, and then we'll kind of take a look at how some of the components all go in the box. One sec. Alright, so first one, I'll look at the dividers. Now, I really like about these dividers versus the original ones, besides the fact the other ones are cardboard, and these are actually nice, durable, like plastic material, so they're going to last better, is that they just have a thing at the top, so you can decide what you want it to be. So obviously, this looks like an item. You could call this an item card, or you could call it whatever you want. We have just different artwork for each one, but each one is going to have a different blank on the top, so you can do with it however you would like. And there's a decent amount of these. They even have one for like your portal pixel if you want that. And we get quite a few of these. Like traps or rooms. So we have what? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9... 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15 of them. So again, you can separate these if you want to separate stuff by actual sets. You want to be like, oh, I want, again, my core set in one, my second set, my third set, you know, Super Boss Monster. Here's promos. You can do that. Or you can sort them out like, hey, I have everything just mixed together, and I have all of my, you know, I have all my rooms here. My rooms got built over here. I have all my spells in the one pile. I have all my bosses here, my mini bosses here. But then you might not, but according to the rules, you want to separate all of your heroes, because from like one set to the next, because they're balanced. So you want to keep all the heroes. I imagine you could probably sort them out. Like you have like regular heroes from one, epic heroes from another, as long as you keep, you don't mix them all together. So there's enough to be able to sort all those out too. So definitely cool there. And we'll look at that, how they'll kind of look when we get into that. We want to look at these promo cards. So the promo cards are going to be Big Box 001, little Super Boss Monster logo. A lot of these are to add to the 5th, 6th player expansion. So if you have Crash Landing, you can add these in with Super Boss Monster. To make it so that Super Boss Monster is playable with that expansion a little bit more easy. So we have Veng, Very Evil Neural Network, which is a Portal reference. Give each room in your dungeon a +1 counter for each room underneath it. We have Gook Zarkanon, the Galactic Royalty. So you put your meeple on here for the super mode. Shuffle any one room stack and gain a Explorer till the end of turn. Space Phantoms, so we have some rooms here, so we have 1 and 2. Get you 2 different pictures. Move the room in your dungeon to the bottom of its stack. We have electrical trap room. When your minion visits the launch pad, give them a +1 counter. The moon door. This room can only be built on top of any room with at least 2 +1 counters. It may be built over any treasure type. We get some new hybrid traps here. We have a thief, mage, the slot machine. Just two different pictures. Put a meeple. Discard the top card of the treasure of the room for each mage or thief spell. On a symbol, gain 1 gold. For each cleric or fighter on a treasure, gain a +1 counter. And the gold is going to be, this kind of helps tie it into the mini-boss expansion, which has more used coins for stuff like that. We have the golden golem. Once per turn, you may spend 2 coins to give this room a +1 counter. We have the bear market. Oh no, he dropped all his stuff. Remove any number of +1 counters from your dungeon. Gain 2 coins for each counter removed this way. So we have some heroes for the explorers. We have the cadet. Immediately goes on to the launch pad. And we have the epic admiral, who goes to the launch pad and ignores damage from explorer rooms. And then to add into the tools of implement kind, and some of them, we have some new items. So ancient spellbook. Before drawing a card from the market, refill all empty slots with spells, as well as heroes in town or a landmark. No one may gain spells. Skeleton G. This card gains the abilities of every unoccupied treasure granting landmark action space, and the hero has +1 for each landmark without a minion on it. The Phantom Katana. This turn double all the damage from +1 counters on your dungeon, or this hero ignores damage from counters. Pure Soul. Well, face up, this card counts as a soul. Remove the +1 counters from any room this hero survives. And Laser Wrench. Shuffle any stack of your choice in every opponent's dungeon, or give this hero +1 for each covered room in your dungeon. And then to go back with mini-bosses, we did some brand new mini-bosses. We have the Concept Cavalier. When your minion visits the stadium, give this room a +1 counter. Once per turn, when this room gains a +1 counter, gain a gold, and give this room a +1 counter to reset to level 1. Karibos. When your minion visits the temple, give this a room a +1 counter. You may discard 3 +1 counters from this room to take a card from the discard pile, or take up to 3 monster cards from the discard pile to reset level 1. Bubbler. When your minion visits the library, gain a coin. Once per turn, when an opponent plays a spell that targets your dungeon, give this room a +1 counter, and draw a spell from each room in your dungeon with both mage and at least 2 +1 counters to reset to level 1. The Infiltrator. When your minion visits the hideout, gain a coin. Your minion is on action space. It gives you a treasure symbol. This room gains that as well. Gain the effects of an unoccupied landmark action space. Reset to level 1. And then finally, for the explorers, is Bonkbot. When your minion visits the launch pad, gain a coin. Once per turn, you may spend coin to shuffle the room stack above this minion boss. Shuffle any number of room stacks in your dungeon with at least 2 cards. Give each shuffled stack a +1 counter to reset to level 1. So, that's pretty fun. We just did some extra cards to help boost up the rest of the stuff. Alright, so then what it has is this big sheet here that talks about combining guide. Your Super Boss Monster Big Box comes with a pack of cards meant to help you combine Super Boss Monsters and your previous Boss Monsters. Use the guide below. So I'm not going to read through all of this. If you like to pause it and read it, you definitely can. But it just says, when combining cards, including the big box, with a pack of Super Boss Monsters and other expansions, use these guidelines along with combination rules from the back of the Super Boss Monsters rulebook for the most balanced games. Remember the golden rule: only use one set of heroes no matter how many boss monsters or Super Boss Monsters you are combining to play. So if you're mixing it with Rise of the Mini Bosses, add these specific cards, the ones that go with them. If you're just using the I'm playing with Super Boss. Any expansion that adds items, add the item cards, because there's a couple of them that add them. Playing with Crash Landing for the 5 to 6 player, remove a couple of cards from the room deck, but then add add and remove these other ones. Playing with Rise of the Mini Bosses and Crashing and Building of Bolts do this stuff. So some different options there. Then finally we have playing with Crash Launching and Implement of Destruction. Do this stuff. It plays everything together. Remember, we only play with one set of heroes. Remove Guy, Red Robe, and Ordinary Hero deck, and Elf from Crash Landing Epic Hero deck. Every other card in their decks that go wild. Yeah, so very fun there. Alright, so before I actually hop in to see how the rest of the box looks, I want to look at a couple other promo things we got, just so we know. They're selling sleeves here. So you can get a pack of sleeves for 240 cards, which has 24 boss, 105 room, 40 spell, 30 heroes, 22 epic heroes, and 24 items. With the exception of the item cards, this is supposed to be enough to cover any basic game. So it says 240 cards. So if we look at the 10th Anniversary Edition, which is the newest core set that came out, it says... I thought it was going to tell me how many cards it had. It says 15 all new cards. I knew that. But yeah, I don't think it tells me how many cards. I thought it said how many cards were in here. But yeah, so it's be able to hold a full set of cards. So it should be pretty darn close. So I would recommend, though, if you're buying one of these, especially if you're getting promos and stuff like that, buy two, and like there's ones in here too. Probably buy two of these to be on the safe side. I don't know how many I bought total. Plus, when I bought them originally, they weren't packaged like this. You had to buy the boss cards. I think in the spell cards were separate, and the room cards were different. Item cards were completely separate. So like I have just a massive ton of them. Then the other thing we picked up is a bunch of mini playmats. So we're gonna take a look at these really quick. Alright, so yeah, we have the regular board you can get Super Boss Monster, or the neoprene one you can get in the other set. But now we have Super Boss Monster playmats. So they had playmats before, which this game doesn't, I don't think really generally requires them, because it's just basically laying your cards left to right. But it's kind of fun to have an extra thing, plus cards tend to pick up a little bit nicer off of playmats than I do just like here. I'm trying to pick this up off the table. I'm gonna have to grip underneath it here. I can at least just slide it off. You know, I can't really just pick it up like that as well. But neoprene playmats are really nice. But this thing also adds the thing with the Super Boss Monsters. I think the original one, they're all the same. Here they're all very different. We have the little mini meeple spot, so we're keeping track of that. So we have one that's kind of supposed to be like the cleric dungeon. Which I think is really cool looking. It's kind of like one for each different element. So the red one kind of gets the fighter dungeons. Then each one's going to have like a little flag in there, but it's going to show some of the different stuff. Sorry, blue would be spell. Yellow would be cleric. So here's the cleric dungeon. And then the last one would be for the thieves. The thefts. Yeah, so very cool. So you can get all four of them. Then the other little pack I had was for 5-6 player expansion. So if you want to play those, we have one here for the aliens, the explorers in the white, and then we have another one. It's just a different set for the explorers as well. So unfortunately they get two because there's only so much you can do with them. But that is still really neat. And then what we can do is we can fold all of these back up, and we should be able to fit them all back into the box. Sorry, I'm going to just fold these all back up. We're going to stick them all in here. We'll see what that looks like. Alright, so this is almost the final of the final. So I haven't finished sleeving all the brand new stuff from Super and everything. So I may or may not add that on to the end of this. Just depends on when I get to it. But this is basically I have it set up. So they have one tray here, which is really nice for holding the board. Because if, I thought the neoprene mats came with this. They might have been a special edition. But if you don't have any of the mats, you can always stick your big board in here. I put like all the instructions and stuff, and I put extra little promo expansions for like Crash Landing, Tools of Hero Kind, Villains of the Vault, stuff like that. And I stuck all my extra tokens in here. I have the little mini boss tokens, all my extra cardboard ones. Does kind of like push it up a little bit, them tokens being in there, but they're not generally meant to supposed to be in there. And I really don't have a reason to necessarily keep this big fat board either. But that's kind of what that is, and I have a spot there for extra little things there. Then we filled up this one, so we have our 2 meeples from the 5-6 player expansion, 4 from Super, our crown. I can open this up. I have 2 sets of wooden tokens. So we have 2 of these. That's why this is so full. Two for each of the hearts, and then 2 for each of the different symbols. So again, you only need 1 of each. It's a lot emptier. We have our big coins from Super. Plus, I have a little mining one, little tiny gold coins used for boss monster stuff. So you're buying and doing those. These are from Super Dungeon Cart. But even they said during the campaign, these would be great to use for that game. And I didn't want to have to pull one from one set, one for the other. So I just ordered an additional set. Are they necessary? Absolutely not. You can just use the regular little cardboard ones if you want. But here's what we got sitting here. So we have the oversized playmat, the 5-6 player expansion, and we have 2 of the small playmats in there. We have the other 4 down here. Because you have to put these trays in here, they need to kind of sit down. So this is actually sitting up a little bit too much. But I might be able to roll them a little bit tighter, possibly. So it is really tight to get all them playmats in there. But you can get 6 playmats and the 2 board ones in there if you'd like to. If you don't own any of the playmats, then you just have some extra storage in these boxes, I guess. I don't know realistically what else you're supposed to do with that. But yeah, so then we have all our cards. So again, I have them all sleeved in the official Boss Monster card sleeves, so they fit in there. They're a little snug, like they still come out in pretty easy, but I have all the rooms here. And this is everything up through that's sleeved is all the core sets, the 3 big core sets, plus the 10th edition. So any cards in there that were brand new, I kept the old ones, I kept the new ones. This is all the different promo packs. And promo material that I could find. Then like all the different bosses here. We have our mini bosses. We have our item cards back here. So I have the original go-kart and I have the new one from the promo set. But I don't have like every single promo card out there. Then this one I just have the spells for building that, and I have my epic heroes and my regular heroes. So you can see, even though like this entire section here is all brand new stuff that has to get sleeved, there's still a decent amount of room. But once I probably fill all this in, it'll probably be pretty darn close to being full again. Because sleeves take up more room. Now, if you don't sleeve any of your stuff, it's probably fine. And you'll probably have more than enough room for at least a few more sets. Otherwise, with this, I might start running out of room. And if I do, worst case is what I would do is I'd probably maybe take like take the heroes out and put them in something else. Maybe keep them in the lunchbox. Because they're kind of a separate thing once you have everything else sort of set out. The other thing I do is, like we said, we have all these different dividers. We could use these to separate each set of heroes. So we have like set 1, set 2, set 3. And then we have like Super Boss Monster, and then all the promo ones. Just that way we can grab them out a little bit easier if you'd like. I just haven't sorted anything else out because there's really, again, room cards, this. You can do the same thing if you wanted to an extent. You could even separate out your different rooms, being like, oh, these are all my fighter rooms, my cleric rooms, these are all my thief rooms, so on and so forth. Then when you're completing your game, you could be like, hey, we're going to shuffle out 10 of each room or whatever it would be, 12 or 15 of each room. Then that way you're not always getting the same rooms potentially, or you don't have a giant stack like this to play in. What I also do love about this is because these all come out. So I could always just be like, this is my card holder for my rooms. You have to draw your room, pull it from the backside, have all these shuffled. Same thing with the heroes. You could do the same thing. Spells. You could just pull these out and have these boxes out there ready to go. So yeah, that's pretty cool. Last thing I will note before we end this video is the old dividers from the lunchbox one will not fit in here. They're too fat. So these will have to be put somewhere else. But yeah, so we can drop these back down in here. Drop this in there. You can see it kind of sticks up just a little bit. They're all plushy, so you can kind of push them back. Throw this on top. We can go ahead and close this. And then I haven't lifted this yet, so I'm sure I'm going to have a really heavy box of cards. Oh yeah, that's pretty decent. Alright, that's what we have for the Super Boss Monster Big Box. I might go a little short follow-up at some other point with the, after I have them all sleeved. It's going to take me a while to sleeve them. But I mean, see how much they would have. If that's something you definitely like to see, hit me up in the comments, and I'll show it with everything in there. Otherwise, this is what we got. See you guys later. Bye.